for Saudi now. We're talking about 2 million people in a tiny, tiny space at the same time over a 5-day period.
Absolutely, and it's been an extreme challenge for them. It's something that they've been hosting for 1,400 years. And over the last few years, over the last decade, they've definitely been investing more in infrastructure, whether it's creating wider bridges, bigger bridges to be able to access the points, having discussions with religious scholars about actually widening the space that is considered the holy territory where the rites can be performed. Security personnel are ever present. Tens of thousands of medical people that have been trained, up to 1,000 security cameras covering almost literally every single spot at the Hajj. And as electronic devices become more prevalent, this year, for example, they've introduced the e-bracelet for the pilgrim, so that any pilgrim can immediately be scanned and they know who they are, where they're from, where they should be staying, and what kind of medical conditions they can have. So every year they seem to be learning from the previous year, but that many people in that small space is just bound to be a challenge. It's the sense of the diversity. There isn't a language that isn't being spoken. There's literally people from almost every country in the world, every ethnicity. And also what strikes you, and having been to Saudi Arabia, you'll relate to this, is usually men and women are quite segregated in public spaces. But at the Hajj, the men and the women are performing their rituals together, they're praying together, and because everyone is wearing the same white robe, which is intentionally meant to symbolize equality, you can't tell rich from poor. And some of the people you meet have actually saved their entire lives to be there at the Hajj at that moment. And so as journalists covering the Middle East, and this is something you definitely will be able to relate to, is we often meet people on some of the worst days of their lives, but this was a story where almost everyone you met, you were meeting on the happiest day of their life, and the tears were of tears of joy. Especially today, those pictures our viewers were just seeing from Mount Arafat, that is the spiritual climax, and you do see people really crying for joy, and that for us was quite unusual and something that you can't help but be affected by.
How do the Saudis